So I'm going to talk about a few things with coffee chats. First of all, a lot of business owners do coffee chats, and coffee chats are especially important when you're first getting started and when you're getting those first few clients because people want to go like right into like writing content and just getting clients straight from your content, and you know that can happen and it does happen to a lot of people, but when it comes to higher ticket programs, people are often reluctant to just buy straight through the content. They want to get to know you a little more before hiring you for some higher ticket thing. Um, and part of the thing with like getting those first few clients is sometimes people aren't really sure what kind of clients they even want, or like what kind of problems people have that you can actually go in and solve, and um, articulating what you do. So, when you get on these longer coffee chats, it's not about selling what you do to the person on the coffee chat. It's about practicing talking about what you do, because a lot of the times the people on the coffee chat like don't even need what you sell. They don't need it. They're not in the market for it. They're not, in the right place in their life or in their journey. So for instance, like I had a coffee chat with this lady who helps, women over 50 get clear on their business and life goals. Well, first of all, I'm younger than that. And secondly, I'm already very clear on my life and business goals, so I'm not the ideal target market for what she has to offer, which, is an amazing program, but it's not something that I personally need or that I'm dealing with those specific issues. Um, but here's the thing. Here's why a coffee chat like that can be super helpful. Well, first of all, because it helps you get clearer on your ideal client, like how you help them, and then also, like if I see somebody and I think, boy, I really think this person might be a fit for her program, like sometimes people come to me, like I help people grow their audience, grow their network, get really good at looking at what they want to do and then figuring out how to meet the right people and have the right conversations with those people. So I don't really help you figure out what your goals are. I take you already have clear goals, and then I help you take these steps that involve talking to other people to achieve those goals, because sometimes I hear from people like they want to have a business, or they want to be like, whatever it is that they want to do, and they're like, I'm not sure like where to network next and like who I need to talk to get this thing done, this big project done that I've been wanting to do. Um, Sometimes you're not even like sure where to begin. Like a good one is breaking into the entertainment industry, because there's people who like want to break into the entertainment industry and they're sitting there thinking like it's just luck. And it's the people I know who are in the entertainment industry, everything they got is because they did do the networking. They got the parts because they did the networking. They didn't slack off on it. They're very good, and like some of those people have taken their skills that they learned in the entertainment industry and they've taken them and they've applied it to their coaching programs, to their programs, because they already have those networking skills. And so then it's like almost, it makes it like easier for them in some sense, because they're like, oh, they're applying their skills. But yeah, so it's really networking and figuring that out. That's what I help people with. But sometimes people come to me and they don't have that goal clarity, and I realize that I'm not the person to help them. So that's why I really like to talk to people who are more in the life coach, goal clarity kind of space. And I've talked to several people in that space who are good at what they do, good at helping people figure out their goals. Obviously, since I've done that, I do have a methodology for doing that, but it's not one that I would want to put people through. So, you know, that's something I would just refer somebody to somebody else who would probably be a better fit for what they're looking for in terms of that goal clarity piece. So, but you know, these coffee chats, it's not about selling your thing. It's about being able to articulate what you do, so then people like naturally want to refer you. So like I have a friend, she's like a grief coach, and she doesn't just help with like when somebody dies, but like I think a lot of times people have like losses in their life where they're still like grieving over it and haven't really overcome that. So when I see people like talking about that stuff on my wall, you know, I tag her in some of those posts because I know what she does and I know she's very good at what she does. And it's not because like I bought like this huge, you know, program from her, but when you're in these coffee chats, it helps to get to know somebody so that you can tag them in post. And then the other big reason, the main reason that I do a lot of coffee chats is because I like interviewing people on their networking journey, and I want to make sure before I interview people that they like understand what networking is and stuff. If I've had a lot of like back and forth before with you, especially if I've been on a call with you or in somebody else's program, or I just feel comfortable, I might just send the interview link. But sometimes I'm like, well, I really want to get to know this person a little better before I send them that interview link. So I do a coffee chat to just kind of assess the vibe, and it doesn't need to be super long. I keep my coffee chats to about 30 minutes, and if I don't have something booked afterwards, and this is the and I really, you know, I like talking to you, I may let it go over, like provided if I have something booked, it doesn't matter how much I like you, I'm going to go and say, I'm sorry, like I have something now, we can like do another chat if you want. But yeah, like I do have boundaries around that. And then, you know, if I don't really think there's anything more to say, or maybe I don't feel like they're a fit for like my interviews or my programs or anything, or there's just not that vibe, you know, when the half hour's up, we'll just, you know, politely say that, you know, my time is valuable, and you know, the half hour's up, and I'm sure you have things to do, and you know, it's pretty easy to know then that the call is over. So I don't ever feel like obligated to stay on for more than the 30 minutes, like regardless. And so I have that time boundary, so that people are not doing like 4, 6, I don't know. I've heard these stories from some of my friends who really love the coffee chats of doing like, have like 4 hours, 6 hours. I'll be honest, I am not somebody who could do, well, I've never done like the 4-hour, 6-hour coffee chats. I imagine those are some pretty in-depth conversations that people are having on those longer chats. But then sometimes people say, like, I had this really long, like, you know, multiple hour long coffee chat, and then we never spoke to each other again. It's like, okay, you put like 4 to 6 hours into talking to somebody, like maybe you got something out of it, maybe you didn't, and then you're like, you never talk to this person again, like. So my question is, if that initial like vibe was like so amazing that you guys wanted to keep talking for like 6 hours, like why isn't that continuing? Which is why I recommend to not let coffee chats go into that zone. Just because if the person is really like vibing with you, if you think you're like potential business besties or something, that you just book another chat at a later date so that you know that it's not like a you got them on a day when they're really chatty and had nothing to do and then they filled up their whole day. But in retrospect, one or both of you is kind of looking back on it and saying, I don't really think this is going to go any further. We don't really have, maybe you guys have different audiences, you're talking to different demographics. So, for instance, I talked to somebody like a while ago. She was a bank trainer. She helped with like that personality, but she worked more like in the corporate space. So say like I didn't, but say I had like done a super long, multiple hour chat with her, which would have been ridiculous anyway. There wouldn't really have been a lot of space to do collaborations or referrals because we're in such different spaces, because I'm working with these smaller like entrepreneurs and she's working more like in the corporate space, and it wasn't like we had a lot of overlapping interests or anything. So you could end up on a super long coffee chat with somebody where you don't have the overlapping audiences. You're like talking to like totally different demographics with like different values, and you may do different things, but even if you do the same thing, you just don't really, there's really not a lot of reason that you would do a collaboration with that person. And so like it's not like you're going to be putting each other in front of each other's audiences, because there isn't really the audience overlap very much. So if you're spending a lot of time on those kind of chats, and then like later you're like, I spent 6 hours and we don't really have anything in common, that it makes sense to deepen this relationship, then just keeping it to the half hour, it's enough. You don't need to like do like a 6-hour chat. So I think just that's why it's better to just like book another one, so then that okay, it wasn't just we had one day where we had to fill up our day because we had nothing to do. And then you're like, well, maybe that wasn't the best usage of my day. So it's setting those boundaries, and because relationships are built up, they're not just like one and done. It's like building it up over time. Like maybe you do a collaboration, and maybe a few months later you do something else, and then maybe one or both of you like even changes their business, and you're like, oh, now I have a friend that can help me promote my new thing that I pivoted to, because I've known people in this space for long enough that I've seen friends who've changed their client avatar. They've changed what they're selling. But I like to keep up with that so that I know, okay, these are the types of people that they're looking for now. This is what they're selling. This is how they help people. They may even like have, 2 or 3 different offers. But I kind of like to keep up with that, especially people that I know a little better, because I'm like, oh, yeah, so then I can be more helpful. So, and that's the thing I think with these coffee chats too, is everybody, you don't need to book, like when you go to a networking meeting, there could be like 10, 12, maybe a lot of people in the room. You don't need to book chats with every single person, and you shouldn't feel obligated to book chats with every single person. If you see somebody, if you're not sure if it's a match, like go ahead and book the chat, because like what, you spent 30 minutes and then you thought, oh, I don't think this is going to go any further, that's okay. So like, if you think that it might turn into something, book the chat. But you don't, like, sometimes you know right away, like, you know, you don't need to book the chat with this person. So you don't have to book like with everybody in the room or like add every single person as a friend. And here's like where this like kind of reciprocal energy goes into play. So if you put your thing out there, if you put your like link to like book a chat out there, like maybe you don't book with them, they book with you, that's okay as well, because they're coming to you to like learn something from you. So maybe you don't think like this person, maybe you don't like aren't particularly interested in like what they're doing or how they do stuff, but they might be booking that chat because they want to find out more about what you do. And maybe they have some referrals for you, or maybe they're looking for your services. You don't know that. So, you know, let them book the chat, because it's only 30 minutes, and if you've gone to those events, you know everybody is not going to book a chat. So the people that want to learn more about you and what you do, it's always good to practice talking about what you do and how you help people, to different kinds of people, even people who you don't think would be that ideal client, because you never know. And then if they're like completely different from like a completely different background, then you get to see how your words and how the way you talk about what you do is perceived by somebody from that completely different angle. So, you know, even if it turns out like they're not an ideal client or they're not an ideal referral partner, you get that perspective on what you're doing that without booking those coffee chats you wouldn't necessarily get any other way. And the other good thing about the coffee chats is it's a great place to like ask people questions like about what they do, like how they do it, how they help people. So it can be super enlightening to learn about other people and how they do stuff. I do want to say something though, because sometimes people book these calls to like try to sell something to you, which like if it gets too salesy, it's important to politely decline if you're not interested. Like if you are interested and you do want to learn more, and it solves a problem for you and you want to buy, that's fine, but always feel empowered to decline things that aren't for you, that you don't want to buy. Like you don't owe them like an explanation even of like not wanting to buy it, because you know you can't, like say you talk to like 10 people selling from the same MLM, like you're not gonna buy like every single person's essential oils or whatever. You know, even if you do buy it, you're only gonna buy like you're only gonna buy so much. And so you just have to be, well, you don't have to be polite, but you can just say like, I'm sorry, I'm not really in the market for that, and you know, whatever it is, because you know, it's okay to say no to people. You know, and I think that's like the important thing to keep in mind with these coffee chats, is you don't ever feel obligated to move it to the next step, or even if it's a collaboration or something, don't feel obligated. And I know sometimes people get chats where they like paying to like do a collaboration. Lots of times, especially if you're in the early stages of your business, it doesn't make sense to pay for these collaborations. If you're further along, you know, really it's something you need to check into your intuition about. So that's something where, again, you know, if it's not, or if say you really are really advanced and you have like all your time booked out, and they want you to do like some super time consuming collaboration in front of an audience that, you know, doesn't really have a lot of your ideal clients in it, you can also decline those, or just if you don't have the energy for something, or it's, you know, whatever, it's Don't ever feel obligated to buy something or to do something for people that you got on the coffee chat with, because then that's like going into people pleasing behavior. Now, if it does make sense, if it is an opportunity that you want to take advantage of, if like there's something that you do want to buy, like you certainly can do that. But really, the important thing with these is to listen to your gut and listen to your intuition. And don't rush into anything that you don't want to do. Because your business is really about you, and the purpose of these chats is to see where other people align with your goals and what you can do together so that you can both further your goals. So anytime you're getting on these coffee chats, it should be reciprocal and not one-sided. It's not like where one person is benefiting so much and the other person is just giving. If it starts to feel like that, like, remember, you do not have to buy anything. You do not have to book another chat. You do not have to do collaborations that aren't a fit for what you do. So it's totally up to you. But the thing is, doing these chats opens you up to the possibilities of what you could do. So that's why there's like super amazing to get on and to do, and like really to get used to doing them if you haven't done a lot of them. And if you have done a lot of them, it's always a chance to reflect and refine on your business. And because sometimes people, as they go on in their business, they also change their ideal client avatar, because people want to raise their prices and go after a client avatar who has more money, who needs their services more. And so doing these coffee chats also allows you to refine on that, as well as you get to talk to more people about what you do. So feel free to leave like any questions, any comments in the chat. I will answer them, and have a great rest of your day. I hope this was super helpful.